We ask you just to lead, guide us, and direct us to do your will. We ask this in your name. Amen. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Dr. Hamid.
Yes, sir. Ms. Ayo. Mr. Baumgartner. Mr. Grove. Mr. Castile. Here. Ms. Fontenot.
Here.
Ms. Gay.
Here.
Mr. Hardesty. Here. Ms. Hardy McReynolds.
Here.
Mr. Natali. Mr. O'Banion.
Here.
Mr. Pichon. Here. Mr. Roberts.
Here.
Mr. Tarver.
Here.
Reverend Wallace.
Here.
Dr. Washington.
Present.
You have a quorum.
All right, thank you. All right, number 3, approval of minutes. Need a motion?
Second.
All right, it was moved by, I think, O'Banion.
All in favor?
Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. Number 4, presentation.
Yes, sir. So normally we would do perfect attendance first. We're going to move Sam Houston to the front because they're fixing to leave. They've got their sports banquet tonight. So we're able to get them presented. We're going to be able to do all the state champions tonight. We've got Sam Houston first, then we'll be able to do our perfect attendance and then the rest of our sports state champions. We're pretty excited about being able to present those to y'all tonight. So we'll start with Sam Houston High School, and Ms. Shannon Fox is going to present everyone from Sam Houston.
Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, I want to say we have boys and girls Division II state wrestling champions for Sam Houston. Caleb Levine, he was a 150-pound class. He was our state champion. And Chevy Coleman, she was in a class of 107. They're both not here tonight. They're doing college things on campus, wherever they're at. So I just wanted to let you know that. Second, we have girls softball. They are Division I non-select state champions. I'm going to call them out, and girls, if y'all can just come up here in front, so we can do the big picture. Carolina Edson, Aubrey Hobbs, Drew Hyatt, Maslin Audemont, Rayleigh Blanchard, Aubrey Porche, Callie England, Addison Ellis, Chloe Peshaw, Layla Landry, Kyra Frugier, Kaylin Meir, Traylon Atalis, Danica Atalis, Traylon Dottery, Addison Domain, Bailey Collins, and head coach Beth Domain, assistant coach Andrew Piot, Jonathan Heflin, Jacqueline Ramon, Cassie Shomo, and Kyla Hamilton, and manager Allie Brown. Please come up. Just to let y'all know, our softball team, their record was 30-2 overall. Congratulations, girls. And I think this has happened 2 times in Southwest Louisiana, where a softball team and a baseball team has won both. So Barb did it a couple years back, but then here's our turn, Sam Houston. Connor Walker, Cole Flanagan, Owen Galley, Grant Ostelet, Hayden Peshaw, Carson Price, Ashton Beltran, Wyatt Harvey, Quinn Finesquiero, Charlie Donaldson, Maddox Ardwan, Wilson Bell, Landon Gentry, Brady Folks, Bennett Harlow, Cooper Wismer, Drew Johnson, Adam Baumgarten, Colton Miller, Ty Smith, Colton Donaldson, Britton Garner, Brock Lessington, Riggins Porche, Peyton Bell, Cannon Kaiser, Aiden Batterton, Austin Richard, Cameron Heflin, Gavin Steach, Jackson Pruitt, Brennan Granger, Parker Smith, Quentin Schofield, Holden Seals, Connor Stevens, Drew Gilly, Ian Mesh, and Tanner McLaughlin. Also, we have head coaches Chad Abear, Matt Keller, assistant coach, Josh Youngblood, Drew Shiplett, Mike Abshire, Bart Anderson. Our team stats were Kinley Mercer and Jolie Mistrick. And we had a trainer, Christy Barker. Congratulations. All right, we're gonna have to get skinny and close. 4 lines. Get on your knees. Get on your knees. I cannot believe the middle of that second area. No. Okay. I can't see you. I can't see you. Thank you, boys. Their record was 35-8 overall, but I think it's great for our area that we had a softball and baseball team make it to the finals and win it. Thank you.
Okay, just real quick, we are definitely proud of Sam Houston, your accomplishments, and I know that you all have to leave for a banquet on tonight, but I want to do this because this is a great time to see what our district and our students and faculty and staff and coaches, what they work towards and their accomplishments, especially with having our busy board member here, Mr. Kevin Birkin, who's able to really see the accomplishments. And so thank you for coming on tonight, Mr. Birkin, and also seeing what our students have accomplished. And so I think you all have to be dismissed. Sam Houston?
Yes, they need to go to banquet.
Okay, all right. Thank you all very much. And let's give them a round of applause as they exit out.
All right, next we have our students who have perfect attendance, and it's going to be Mr. Keith LaLove, our Director of Child Welfare and Attendance.
It is my pleasure to recognize 2 students in the district who have maintained perfect attendance for 13 years. As I call your name, please come forward. Taylor Holloway from Starks High School. And Maya Charles from Sulphur High School. At this time, I'd like for the parents to stand. Taylor's parents are James and Brandy Holloway. And Maya's parents are Michael and Deanna Charles. We have some presentations for these students. But before we get to that, A little bit about Taylor. She is a graduate of Starks High School, maintaining a 4.25 GPA. She was a dedicated student, active in numerous clubs and extracurriculars. And Taylor will continue her academic journey at McNeese, where she will pursue a degree in radiology. Maya is a graduate of Sulphur High School, where she maintained a 3.73 GPA. And she was a member of the track and field team competing at the state track meet this year and setting school record in discus. And she will pursue a degree at the University of Louisiana in nursing. Now, for presentations, we have a member of the staff of the credit union who will come up and present something.
On behalf of the Calhoun teachers and employees credit union here in Lake Charles, getting all stuff from Sulphur also, we wanted to congratulate both of y'all. Unbelievable. To go 13 years and not miss a day of school. Anybody else in the room ever done that? All right, there we go. Okay. Well, congratulations. We have y'all little goodie bag here and well. Okay. There it is. All right. Thank y'all very much and congratulations.
We've got plenty more.
Yes, sir.
We've got plenty more. Next, we have a presentation from the Navarre Auto Group. And I'm proud to say that Navarre Auto Group has been a sponsor of this program since 2003, since its inception. All right, now Dr. Van Meter will have you come forward and help us out. And also if Ms. Clovis is here, Mr. Sanders is here, they'll present us, help us present the next award. And these students are number 47 and 48 since the inception of this program in 2003. And I say this every year, on a resume, I want you to put this award first, because people want folks that are going to show up every day. Congratulations, it is an honor.
Next, we have state champions from Bell City High School, and Jason Folks is going to be presenting.
Good evening. We're extremely proud to be here tonight to honor our student athletes. I'd like to begin with our 4x100 meter relay team. It consists of Clancy Aver, Sonny Kelly, Peyton Herpin, and Asia Stewart. We also have actually just finished basketball game this evening, so they're getting ready for next year already. So our 4x200 meter relay team was Kennedy Seymour and Ashley Natali, along with Peyton Harpin and Asia Stewart also. Not only was she on the 4x1 and the 4x200 meter relay team, Peyton Harpin also won the high jump. We actually had a 4-time state champion, the 4x100, 4x200, and the individual 100 and 200 meter champion was Asia Stewart. This year we had a first for Bell City. We had a state champion in the swim, and the 50 meter freestyle was Grant Granger. We're extremely proud of our student athletes, and we look forward to see what they can accomplish again next year. This past year, they were a state runner-up by 8 points, so we're hoping to bring back the state title next year. So, thank you all.
Next, we have Sulphur High, the E-Sports State Champions, and I think Mr. Magnus, their coach, is going to be presenting.
Hello, okay. All right, yes, as you said, Sulphur High Esports, currently Louisiana High School Athletic Association recognizes 6 categories of esports, and one of those is Overwatch, and we are the inaugural Overwatch state champions. Overwatch was not offered as an LHSAA sport in the last couple of years, and during those years, we played through Play Versus, which is a national competition, and actually won our region, which is about a quarter of the United States, and ended in the top 8 nationally in the last 2 years. So there's been some success going on already, but it was really nice to be able to go up to Louisiana Tech and bring home that big trophy. There was a big, a nice surprised look on Mr. Poole's face when we walked in with the state championship trophy. So I want to recognize the players that made it happen. Our senior team captain, Jacob Domang, I'm afraid he was working and was not able to be here. Our juniors, Caden Dupuis and Cole Vining. And our sophomores, Sarah Goad and Michael Baker. And our 6th man, junior Alex Gonzalez, and I don't think Alex is here. And then we want to recognize Matthew Steckling, who was a star player for our team the last couple of years, graduated last year, and was a key assistant coach for us this year, and so we appreciate Matthew as well. So your LHSAA state champions for Overwatch.
Next, we have Barb High School, and Principal Troy Fonto is going to be presenting.
I'd like to recognize our state championship participants and our outdoor track team state champion for the girls. Start off with indoor. Indoor state champion is Miss Kennedy Burks in the Division I 400 meters. She holds the meet class and field house state records. We going to move on to outdoor track, where the girls team won the track state championship in Division I by 30 points. It was a dominant performance by our girls track team. The individual event winners are here. The 4x4 relay participants who won were Kennedy Burks, Reese Trahan, Anaya Levan, and Turi Tron. Also included with this group of here, Reese Trahan won 300-meter hurdles. And of course, Kennedy won 400-meter hurdles. Another winner was, we have a freshman, Maria LaFleur, who won the girls javelin. She's unable to be here tonight. She was a freshman, state champion. And boys, not here tonight, Carter Cooks won the pole vault. Our coach, Priscilla Ibarra, is here, and the boys coach, Mitch Amy, he's out of town. Coach, come on up. Kennedy's mother, Michelle, as well, she's an assistant coach with the team, so they're all equally important for this young lady.
And we also have Starks High School. Principal Jeff Sanders is going to be presenting.
Good evening, everyone. First off, as you know, Starks High School is a Class C K-12 school. We have just under 300 students. While we may be small, we are mighty. We are blessed with some great kids and some great athletes. First off, for our state track meet champions, our 4x200, they were not able to attend, but I'd like to recognize them as well. Dwayne Weaver, Ben Crisp, Nate Gore, and Casey Howard. For our high jump champion, who is able to attend, is Mr. Cole Doucette, a junior at Starks High School. And we have Coach Holloway, Coach Randy Holloway, and Coach Taco Holloway.
All right, number 5, superintendent's report.
Yes, sir. You have each received your Head Start report. Program governance note policy council meeting was conducted in May 2025 due to the program-wide field trip to Houston, Texas. Program operations, 1,000 students and families attended a program-wide field trip to Houston, Texas. Students visited downtown Houston Aquarium and Houston Museum of Natural Science. Coordinated enrollment is still in process, and Head Start interviews are scheduled through the month of June. You've each received your population report for April, reflecting the numbers from April 1st through April 30th. I'd like to report our May 2025 sales tax numbers for our general fund, which show collections of $3,812,106, or 28.2% above budget for the 11th month of the 24-25 school year. Collections are $1,899,192, or 12.3% above collections for the same month last year. And after 11 months, collections are $9,821,769, or 5.9% above budget and $2,677,145, or 1.5% above the same period last year. The latest hurricane summary report is at your seat. In the past month, we've also conducted the last meetings of our superintendent advisory councils. We held parent, teacher, and student advisory council meetings, and I've really enjoyed these meetings and gained some valuable insight. We'll be continuing these meetings in the future, and thank you to members of these councils. The district hosted its first annual Leadership Summit for Leaders at LaGrange High School this past month. We had a great opportunity for school leaders to learn district processes and planning for next year. Thank you to Mr. Harvey and the CNI staff for their hard work in organizing. We found out this week that our Public Information Department won 7 national awards from the National School Public Relations Association for work done this year. This includes work for projects ranging from videos and public service announcements to infographics and the annual report. So congratulations to Ms. Holland and Ms. Kelly. Our CPSB job fair was held this morning at the West Cal Arena. We had representatives from schools and departments in order to help fill positions for next year. Thank you to Mr. Valentine and the personnel department for helping make this a successful job fair. We're continuing to work on updates on teacher salary schedule for the 25-26 school year in order to reduce the number of steps. It's on track to present with the salary schedule adoption in July. In the BESI meeting that was held today in Baton Rouge, the waiver for instructional minutes for the 24-25 school year was officially approved. And we do, like Reverend Wild said, have a visitor tonight, Mr. Kevin Birkin from the BESI board, our BESI representatives here this afternoon, and we just want to welcome him. Please be sure and contact LaKenya Donald in Mr. Bourne's office regarding budget review small groups and which meeting you would like, which meeting time you've chosen once you decide on the time. This concludes the superintendent's report.
Any questions? All right, number 6, executive session, need a motion? So moved. All right, it was moved by Mr. O'Banion and seconded by Mr. Pichon. All right, we're to discuss to settle claim 4A24024024K65K001. B, claim CLAS 12045B1 AAIC file 2462739. And last C, claim 48230-2F21C P0003 AAIC file number 2540302. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries. Ayes have it. Executive session.
Oh, no way. I love it. I've saved a lot. But you can take like very like a day thing. But could you just like, everything is there. Everything is there. All part of the exact there on the island. It just, you just scratch. Not like a lot of people. It's so not where you stay, where you do Probably cheaper than the 40. I got married. They have like, oh, here's the smart. They're all part. And where are the cell was, they just walk out, off the building time, and they have like, bar, no, they're not. Like right by the beach. Bring it back. Okay. Oh, okay. So they're not a quad. Okay, so they're not that. No, this whole building is, everybody's got a quad.
All right, I need a motion to return from executive
So
session.
moved.
All right, it was moved by Mr. Eric Carver, seconded by Ms. Mary Fontenot. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. All right, agenda item number 7, take appropriate action on executive session.
Motion to settle at the staff's recommendation on A, B, and C.
All right, it was moved by Mr. Eric Carver and seconded by Mr. Natale, Mr. Aaron Natale. All right, and we'll take vote on each one of them, separately. All right, item A, action to settle claim for A24024K65, K001. All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. B, action to settle claim CLAS 12045B1 AAIC, file number 2462739. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. C, action settle claim for A2302F21CP0003 AAIC, file number 2540302. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, ayes have it. Item number 8, Budget Committee Report. Mr. Natale.
Kentucky Parish School Board Budget Fiscal Management Committee minutes at 5:06 p.m. Tuesday, May the 27th, 2025, in the boardroom. Mr. Bourne presented General Fund Budget Revision number 3 for the 24-25 year, which included revenues and other sources of funds of $410,603,310, which is an increase of $6,720,028. Mr. Bourne noted a correction, reducing the expenditure by $950,000, which needs to be made, changing the use and expenditure of the funds. Expenditures and other uses of funds of $424,297,489, an increase of $4,728,724 over budget revision number 2. General budget fund revision number 3 projects a current deficit of $13,694,179, which will result in a projected unassigned fund balance of $27,675,546, which is 6.74% of projected revenue. General fund revision number 3, 24-25 was approved as presented. And I so on behalf of the committee, I so move on behalf of the committee.
All right, coming from committee, needs no second. Are there any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, ayes have it.
Next, 2024-25 special revenue budget revision number 1 was presented for approval. Projected revenue and other sources of funds were $87,656,084. a decrease of $3,755,457 from the original budget. Expenditures and other uses of funds are $90,974,250, which is a decrease of $792,172, with a projected deficit of $3.3 million. All in school fund services. And so school food services is one of the largest and special revenues of the funds, which projects revenues and other sources of funds of $20,880,964, which is going to be an increase of $219,000 from the original budget. The food services fund is projecting a deficit of $3,318,166 from the original budget, leaving a fund balance of $11,482,692, or 54.99% of the projected revenue. Special Revenue Fund Division Number 1 for the 2024-25 year was approved as presented, and I so move on behalf of the committee.
All right, coming from committee needs no second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it.
Mr. Bourne then presented the first draft of the 2025-26 proposed general fund budget. Proposed revenues and other sources of funds are $384,185,165, which is a decrease of $26,418,145 from the final revision for the 24-25 year. Expenditures and other uses of funds are projected at $384,026,922, which is a decrease of $41,610,208, which is from the final revision of the 24-25. The proposed budget for 25-26 projects an operating surplus of $158,243, which will leave a projected unassigned fund balance of $24,063,749, or 6.26% of the projected revenue. Mr. Bourne stated that the 25-26 proposed general fund budget would not be presented for approval until July, after advertising requirements were met. The proposed budget was presented as information only. Mr. Bourne, along with Mr. Bent, then presented the capital improvement fund proposed formula. The intent of the formula is to capture an excess of the temporary increased sales tax, economic activity in the parish related to large construction projects of companies that have been granted an industrial tax exemption. A modified formula that included reference to the dedicated sales tax fund was presented. On a motion by Reverend Wallace and seconded by Mr. Tarver, the committee voted to adopt the modified proposal, and I so move on behalf of the committee.
Coming from committee needs no second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it.
The next item on the agenda was the employee count data presented by Mr. Bourne. This information is reported periodically to the board, and the current number of active employees as of May 16, 2025 is 4,815. This was for information only. Next, Mr. Bourne provided a report of the Calhoun Parish School Board state and federal grant funded personnel. The report shows the salary paid from the grant funds to each listed employee. This was given for informational purposes only. Lastly, Mr. Bourne then presented the annual calculation report on the per pupil expenditure. This was for information purposes only and did not require any action. This concludes my report.
Thank you. All right. Number 9, action, take action items. 8, approval of MOU with Big Brothers and Big Sisters Mentoring Program.
Yes, sir. So this is just a renewal of our Big Brothers Big Sisters agreement for them to come into the schools and work with our kids. This one is a 3-year agreement, just for regular Big Brothers Big Sisters.
Any questions? All right. All in favor of 9A, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. All right, 9B, declare the Bell City property is not needed for school purposes or by any school in the district, and the best interest of the school board would be served by the sale of the property. Authorize superintendent to obtain an appraisal for Bell City property, prepare a request, quotes, qualifications, of a licensed commercial real estate broker and retain a broker for purposes of conducting sale of the property.
We will do so.
All right.
Motion.
All right, motion. Second, all right. It was motioned by Mr. Natale and seconded by Mr. Eric Tarver, excuse me. Aaron. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So this is a piece of property in Bell City, down one of the side streets from the high school. Still belongs to us, but used to, looks like have some old tennis courts on it. We don't need it anymore. Talked to the school. They don't need it anymore. Mr. Natale asked me to put this on the agenda to get rid of it. I think some folks around want to buy it.
All right, any questions? All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. All right, C, approval for proposal for HVAC services.
I'd like to make a motion
Yes, sir.
to award Johnson Controls the east zone of the parish and award either Bernhard or Star Services the west zone contingent on negotiations to align within our current budget.
Second.
All right, it was moved by Mr. Hardesty and seconded by Mr. Eric Tarver. All right, are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Why are we distinguishing the two, and have we used both of them consistently, or is one of the names I'm not familiar with?
Currently we have Johnson Control. We went out for RFP. Y'all asked us to go out for RFP. We went out for RFP. And the 4 companies that submitted proposals were Bernhard, Corporate Mechanical Contractors, Johnson Control, and Star. We currently use Johnson Control.
Okay. And what were the two, Mr. Hardesty, that you made the motion on?
I made the motion to award the east side to Johnson Controls and the east side of the parish, and either Bernhard or Star Services the west zone contingent on negotiations to align within our budget.
Okay, now back to you, Mr. Van Lee.
Yes, ma'am.
Is Johnson Control now the company we were having difficulty with?
We've had
And a
Johnson.
lot of discussion.
We've had
about-
Johnson Control for several years, yes, ma'am. Especially several years ago, we did have a lot of trouble, especially when school started. We've since put a lot of money, y'all have both put a lot of money into replacing a good bit of equipment. But we've had Johnson Control for several years.
So all the prior incidents have been corrected?
This year was a much better, I would say a much better start to the year than 2 years ago. Much better.
All right, Mr. Roberts.
Thank you. Just a little refresher. So the board requested that we look for other options as far as putting together or separating the parish, and we hired CSRS to come up with a program, correct?
Yes, sir, they did the RFP for us, help facilitate the RFP.
And the main goal of that was?
Well, I thought the main goal of that was to make sure that we are, getting the best supplier for our HVAC services. And we did have in the RFP, basically a way that these 4 companies could bid on both sides of the river or bid on the east or the west. And it was set up basically where we could, award either side or both if they won the bid in the RFP.
I think the mandate from the board was to make sure we ended up with multiple companies. And that's kind of was frustrating. It was very clear. You mentioned 23, 24, and this was before you sat in that chair, okay? So we've had numerous problems, and you're right, Ms. Gay, we've had problems. And we extended Johnson Control's contract.
We did.
So we could get through the interim period. But the main goal from this board was to find a way, not to find the best contractor, but to find a way to divide up the parish to where not just one contractor has it, because one contractor has not been able to handle it. It's just too big. That's been proven. That's why we had the issues we've had. Actually, since I've been on the board, the 11 years I've been on this board, outside of COVID and outside of Eureka Mac, this is the biggest thorn in my side, period. Not parents complaining, not this. I got phone calls or text messages from students in the classroom saying, Mr. Roberts, could you please get the air conditioning? They must have put it on Snapchat or something. They all started bombarding me. I've never seen anything like it. So the goal was to find multiple providers. And I guess if this is what CSRS came up with, the mechanism is, this isn't good. Okay, so who came up with the evaluation factors? Was that the committee?
The committee had input on the evaluation factors, but I'd like to say too, that we had 2 board members, that were appointed to the committee.
Okay.
And the board members came out with basically the same thing that the rest of the folks who were on the committee came out with.
How about how about past performance?
In terms of past performance on here?
Yes.
Well, if we have 3 companies that we've never dealt with, if you're talking past performance with us, it would be difficult to judge those 3 companies.
You've got quality of references on here.
Yes, sir.
So you're taking someone's word at some point.
Yes, sir.
So you can certainly ask these companies, the 3 you don't know, to provide past performance, letters of recommendation
Yes,
from
sir.
other entities. But past performance is why we're here today. The fact that Johnson Controls not been able to perform. So I love the motion because it's going to force us to at least have 2, and that's the intent of what we were trying to do here a couple years ago, is to at least have 2 providers, if not 3. And I could say this process to me didn't hit the goal, but if we can do it up here as a board, that's fine. And hopefully Johnson Control can handle the East, because that's where I'm at, and it really doesn't resolve any issues for me. But I'm fine with the way it's written, and I'll save the rest for later if I need. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Tarver.
So just to add a little bit more context, me and Mr. Hardesty were on the small group that kind of did a little more digging on this, did a little more research. And on the east side, there wasn't really a profound reason to go with not JCI, but on the west side, there was more, it seemed to be more opportunities to break the parish up. And not Eric Tarver, the member of that little small committee, but Eric Tarver, the board member from whatever district I'm in. 8, I think it is. I want the district broken up, and I was very clear about that in the meeting. I wanted at least 2, and so I'm happy with the motion as well. I'm happy with the way it's worded, and they can go back and negotiate the west side where there was a little bit more opportunity to change. And I'm not a big fan of JCI, the performance that has been going on in the past either, but I think breaking it up is a better future even for those of us that are going to stay with JCI. I'm optimistic that it'll be better than it was in the past. So I'm fully supportive of this motion. We talked about the wording of it, and I'm supporting it, obviously. So I'm a yes.
You still banging?
Yeah. I want to say, I might not be the only one, but I actually sat down for about 3 hours and read the proposals cover to cover. And I mean, I'll say, change is good unless it's not good. And none of the other proposals, I mean, they were higher, but they really didn't justify what they were going to give us for the extra money. And I will say, I mean, I'm on the west side. I mean, I would rather have Johnson. I mean, I can pick up the phone day or night. I've had good luck, and especially since we have given them extra resources, replace some 45 to 50-year-old equipment. I mean, I looked at the RFP, and some of these, I don't know what they looked at, because they didn't address the issues. Johnson is the only one that dedicated people with names that live in Calhoun Parish to this. Some of the rest of them, I mean, we don't know if they're gonna put 2 people on it. We don't know. I mean, we know what we've got, and I mean, we looked at different options. I can't support this. And for the extra money, but also, I mean, I don't know how we put out an RFP or a bid, and now we're gonna go back and negotiate after the fact. I mean, we're gonna negotiate with everybody. I mean, do we go back to Johnson now? And I mean, why did we do an RFP? If we're gonna just go out, I mean, maybe we can legally do it. I just don't know if we can ethically do it. I mean, why is anybody gonna wanna bid on a package we put out if it means absolutely nothing? And then they can just sit back and wait, get somebody else's number and see if they can beat it. So, I mean, I can't support this, I know we're gonna vote on this first. I mean, I'm gonna make a motion to award it to Johnson. It's $1.5 million cheaper. I mean, we don't have a lot of extra money, and their performance has been better. I mean, I've been out on routes at 9 o'clock, and not just in my district. I've been LeGrand, DeBar. When somebody calls me, I go. And I actually see, I'm not just taking other people's word. Yeah, we have a big system, it's gigantic. And Johnson is telling us, giving us the names of the 16 people they're gonna put on it. The other ones, we don't know. I mean, they're not gonna have people living here, some of them. I mean, are we gonna have to wait for somebody to drive from Lafayette? I just can't support this as is.
Okay, so let me ask, just to make sure and clarify before Mr. Belfort, were you making a motion now?
If, I mean, I'm gonna make that.
The substitute motion. Yeah. Okay, it was moved by Mr. O'Banion. Say your motion again, clarify your motion again.
Just to award the contract to Johnson Control for the entire parish for the amount bid.
And seconded by Mr. Pichon. All right, and we'll discuss after Mr. Belfort.
Mr. O'Banion expressed a concern I have. While you have more flexibility with the RFP process than you do with the straight bidding process, once you finish with the process, you don't go back and negotiate to change the prices that are in the proposal. That's my concern. I'm not sure what's intended by Mr. Hardesty's motion, that you go back and negotiate with 2 other of the people who submitted proposals. I suggest that you look at the evaluation of the RFP and you use that evaluation to choose the other side, but you don't go to renegotiate the prices that are already submitted.
And I will point out too, in the CSRS memo that we sent you last week or a couple days ago, we did lay out another option that we talked about in the small group meeting in terms of awarding half to Johnson and half to Barnhart, who was the number 2 bid on the RFP. So we do have that option for you there as well.
All right, so we're discussing the subsequent motion. So do I have any? All right, Mr. Pichon and then Mr. Tarver.
So I'll say this, in my opinion, people don't become bad at their jobs. People without the tools become bad at their jobs. We didn't give them the right tools to begin with. I know they came back and asked we specifically came and asked to lower our original contract with them, and we gave them the tools back that they needed, the right amount of people, and then problems disappeared. We fixed the things, we replaced all the chillers and everything else we did with the funds. Things got better. I don't think the problem lies on Johnson Control. I think the problem lies on us to begin with. And like I said, I don't think people are inherently, if you're good at your job to begin with, we've been using it for how many years? 19?
Long time.
A long time. Over 20 years. And then we have some problems and we were ready to just bail the ship. Maybe we need to take a self-reflection and see maybe the problem's on us. And we were putting the roadblocks in the way. We fixed the roadblocks, things got better. I can't support the original motion, so.
Mr. Tarver?
So, first of all, Mr. Urbane, I absolutely appreciate your knowledge level and involvement level, so I don't want to sound like I'm just dismissing that, but I also have a lot of years of going through this, have a lot of experience going through this, and the opportunity to not have problems is past. And it's time for us to do something different instead of doing the same thing that we have been doing in the past. And I don't have 70 campuses, but I have a lot of property and I have a lot of very expensive property with a lot of air conditioners in it. And I don't think about air conditioners. I don't think about, am I gonna have air conditioning today? Because you shouldn't have to, if you run a business, you shouldn't have to think about, is my air conditioner gonna work today? And I'm tired of the principals in our schools thinking, is my air conditioner gonna work today? They shouldn't have to be thinking about that. I'm tired of tolerating them thinking about that. And we should not tolerate them thinking about that for years. For years they've been thinking about that, and for years people have been complaining to us about it. Now, so we're not throwing, I'm not saying we throw Johnson Controls out, baby out the bathwater. That's not the point. The point is to break the district up to where we can have different vendors providing hopefully better service to both sides. And so we can see what level of service are we willing to tolerate and what level of service are we willing to pay for. So this was never about go with the lowest bid, and it didn't necessarily get mentioned, but that was discussed in the small group. This was never intended to be a go with the lowest bid. Even in the bid packet, there was an evaluation system that didn't just include the lowest bid. Now that did not get sent to y'all. It just has the bids only. I noticed in the email. But the whole point was not to just flood information to everybody. So we've done a little bit of research. We've done some digging. We did some discussion. And I'm not saying we give Johnson Control the boot, but I'm not satisfied with the product that we have. And I'm not satisfied with continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again. Not satisfied. And I don't think you guys should be satisfied either. If you'd like more time to continue to dig into it, but I'm telling you, it's a lot of stuff there. Even I disagree with the thought that, oh, you can't continue to negotiate what is in here, because is there a contract written yet? Do we have a contract written? Right. And so there's no contract written. There's nothing. If we say, let's go with these guys, will we sign a contract tonight?
My concern is there's a similar case out of East Baton Rouge Parish where a school system tried to do exactly that, change the price after an RFP process, and the court said no.
Right. So, but it's not clear to me that the same thing is even bid on in the packet. So I'm not saying anybody's doing anything improper, but there's a lot more going into this once we select a vendor. Okay. And I don't want to get in the weeds, but now we're in the weeds. The whole point was to not get in the weeds, but here we are. Hello, weeds. Welcome aboard. All right. If we change vendors from Johnson Controls to somebody else, one of the things that we talked about in the meeting is we have to refigure all the controls, to reprogram, or not reprogram all the controls, replace all the controls with open source controls. Okay? So JCI has proprietary controls that only they're allowed to use. If it's not JCI, it has to be reconfigured for what I would call open source. That may not be the right word, but I would call it open source. I'm not 100% convinced. That's clearly indicated in everyone's bids. So that's the kind of question that I would say we need to go back and reevaluate. Are we getting the right prices and everything getting matched exactly between the two that his motion suggests that we go back to? So there's lots of questions. This is one line that we're going with one line here as far as award the bid to this company or this company or this company or this company. So I think it's perfectly reasonable to say keep working on a contract and take it from there. But I'll get off that. I'm not satisfied with what we have. I'm not satisfied continuing to do the same thing over and over again. So I'm relatively insistent that we break the district up and offer it to multiple vendors, even though that's not, it's not the lowest bid. I'm not trying to discount the fact that Johnson Controls is the lowest bidder, okay? They're the lowest bidder. I don't mind owning it. I don't want to go with the lowest bidder. I want to go with, any principals? Who principals? Any principals? No principals. Okay, so I don't want any principals wondering if the air conditioner is going to work, because my salesmen don't wonder if the air conditioners work, and these guys should not have to wonder if the air conditioners work. So I'm not in for the lowest bidder. I'm in for, let's get a product that we're happy with. So, hang on. We never put in time limits for the board members. I tried to put in time limits for the board members speaking, but we never did. Y'all stuck with me. We have been discussing this for many years. And for many years, we've given Johnson Controls another year, for many years, okay? It's time to do something different and see what happens. And let's do something different, then we'll see where we're at. And maybe you know what, maybe they're gonna kill it so hard that we go back and we say, oh, JCI, give JCI the whole thing. Maybe, but let's do something different. And let's don't get torn to pieces when we do the same thing over and over and over again like we've done for the last 4 years. And then it's not good. So I'm in favor of breaking up the district, so I'm a hard no on Mr. O'Banion's motion. No offense, Mr. O'Banion, but I'm a hard no on giving it all to JCI.
Okay, all right, I have you down. Okay, but next will be Mr. Roberts and then Mr. O'Banion.
Sister, have you gone yet?
That was the initial motion. We on the substitute.
Now we're on Mr. O'Banion.
I'll go ahead. All right, I agree with everything Mr. Tarver said. Only we would hire a third party, which I got this yesterday from staff. Wasn't even in my packet, so I could look at it over the weekend. Only we would hire a third party. I don't know how much we spent. How much does this cost?
$5 million.
No. For the I couldn't tell off the top of my head, but please don't blame CSRS for that.
No.
You blame anybody, you blame me.
Okay.
Right? Because I was asked for more information, so I reached out to CSRS. And said,
Only we would pay a third party, and I'm not blaming CSRS. Only we would pay a third party to end up at the same thing that we were at beforehand. We were trying to fix this, and this does not fix it. Going back to one provider. We hired them to come up with a way to divide this up. And here we are considering doing the same thing over and over and over again after spending money to get someone to help us break it up. So I'm not going to support the current motion. Mr. Balfour, can we accept one side of the river? It's split up.
I am not as familiar with the specifications and the meetings with everyone as all of you are.
I'm not even trusting.
I was told the specifications, the RFP process permitted a division.
That's correct.
And my quarrel is not with dividing this, it's with saying, okay, we'll take A and then we'll negotiate prices with B and C. That's what I'm having trouble with.
Okay.
It's not with taking.
But my
A
question is, can we accept one half, which we should be able to?
Okay, can we do this, if you don't mind not to interrupt you? So excuse me, we do have a representative from CSRS. Can you all come up and address that? Ooh.
Hello.
What's the question?
Mr. Roberts, you have a question?
I don't have any really direct questions for them. My questions were our attorney.
Well, do they have any thoughts on whether or not you can do what we want to
So
do?
your question was, you can ask the same question that you just posed to Mr.
Is
Bell.
the contract sufficiently negotiated to sign it tonight?
Go ahead, Mr. Roberts.
So there's multiple parts. So we broke it up into 2 zones based on conversations that we've had with staff through this whole entire process.
In the initial discussions, we talked about even doing 3, but we felt it was better for the district to do it 2, east side of the river, west side of the river. In the RFP, it is written that the board, the staff can make a recommendation to award one contractor to one side and one contractor to the other side. Or if based on the results, award it to one person. But it is an option, you know, based on how the scoring came in and based on how y'all want it to proceed, that either 2 people could get 2 sides, or 2 people could get one each, 2 different sides. As far as the contract being signed tonight, that would definitely not happen. There is a contract assessment period that we would be meeting with the awarded firms to find out what they discovered through the initial pre-assessment phase, and if they had any concerns that they needed to bring to CPSB before they signed the contract. So there's about a 60-day period before we would even be ready to sign.
Okay. All right. Mr. Roberts, you have any other questions?
Not CSR.
Comments? Okay.
One last comment. I'm not going to support the current motion. If we need to accept one half of the river tonight, that's fine. We don't have to accept either. I mean, we can keep moving forward and rebid it. But again, for those of you that haven't been here that long, this has been going on and on and on. And again, we started this whole process and paid someone to help walk us through it, to come up with at least two different providers. And this proposal and this recommendation, just because of low bid. Low bid hasn't worked. Low bid has not worked for this district. And I'm speaking for the teachers, for the principals, and the kids that were texting me or calling me during class saying, Mr. Roberts, can you please get this fixed? First week of school.
And I'll note again too, right? So one of the things that we talked about in the small group meeting, right, was the ability to award, let's say Johnson, one half of the river, right? And then the number two company that came in on RFP was Barnhart, and awarding Barnhart the other half, right? So we did talk about that as an option as well. Would that fall within the RFP process of not having to go through and renegotiate?
I believe it would. Again, my concern is renegotiating prices between two of the proposed contractors on the west side of the river. Name one, but don't try to negotiate the prices. That was the problem in Baton Rouge in that case.
I have a question.
All right, just a moment. I'll put you down on the list, but Mr. O'Banion and then Mr. Natale.
Again, I spent 3 hours reading, and my issue is not with change. I mean, I don't, but the RFP process, that's how they came up with the score. And I would be fine with more money if the contractors that bid more money told us why, what we're gonna get for that money. And they didn't. I mean, they didn't tell us how many people, what they were gonna do better, and also for CSRS, the next two for sure, didn't they put in their proposal 60 and 90-day evaluation period for them to evaluate our equipment?
The 60 to 90, the 60 days is in the schedule that we put into the
Right.
RFP package. So if they mentioned something like that in their proposal, they were using what we put. That was basically the schedule in the.
Yeah, but the way it was written in the Star, what I remember for sure, I think the Barnhart was along the same lines. In that 60 days, whatever it is, they have the opportunity to come in and evaluate our equipment and decide whether or not it's up to their standards.
I didn't read their proposal in detail, so I don't
I
know if
did.
it's like that, but I can tell you.
And I just, nothing against any particular company, but I know Star, I've dealt, I mean, everybody may not know, I mean, I'm universally certified, EPA. I've worked on 1,000-ton chillers, but I've got some background in this, but with Star, and not just Star, this isn't a dig at Star, What they normally do, they're gonna come in and evaluate your equipment. If they say it's not up to their standard, then outside of this proposal, we either have to replace it or pay them to get it up to standards. And that's an unknown. We don't know what that amount would be.
Okay, all right, Mr. Vitale, and then Ms. Fontenot.
So, it's probably not gonna sound like an intelligent question, but whenever I'm looking at all these numbers, are we comparing the same exact thing? So X amount of dollars, is that just for service, or does that include equipment that breaks, new parts? That's my question. What all are we truly comparing apples to apples, or?
Yeah, so, I mean, everything would be within the contract.
Because I remember at one point we even had, with the Johnson Controls, there was some type of incentive-based program where we actually got money back on the contract. So I just wanted to know.
That was built in part of the contract and part of the contract negotiations, and some of that too was, us putting money towards equipment that needed to be replaced every year, right? Yeah, I know, agreed, yes, sir. But that was part of that, negotiation as well, so there was some money there, and then, if we didn't have to spend that, then they would go and, you know, there would be some.
So if the sewer goes out at one of my schools, I guess my simple question is, if it's 5 days or 5.5 days, whatever that number is, do we still have to buy the new chiller, or is that more than what we're paying for?
I think there's X number of, amount of money per year that we have within this.
If we didn't have that contingency plan, then we would have to pay for it.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
If we didn't have that amount of money in the contingency plan, I'm talking about the old contract we had. If we did not have that amount of money in the contingency plan, we would have to pay for it each other.
In other words, we had X number of dollars set aside for that, for equipment to be replaced every year, right?
We had the same amount for each side, based on.
It was overall.
It was overall because it was
Then moving forward, if we don't, or we have.
we would have to do that within, yes, sir, we would have to do that within the contract negotiation for each side.
So these numbers are really more accurate, all of it.
This is what they bid in terms of what they would do to service.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Fontenot, and then Mr.
Well,
Cassidy.
actually, I was just listening to Mr. Balfour. It was more about the legality of the thing and whether or not you can split, you know, the parish up and do all these different things, but you kind of answered, you know, my question.
All right, Mr. Castile, and then Ms. Gay.
I don't know that we necessarily had the opportunity to see the proposal, but did the proposal state that the award went to low bidder?
No, so it was part of the rubric, but it was only a part of the rubric.
Okay, so if awarded, then they get 60 to 90 days or whatever it is to actually go and check out our equipment. So there was no pre-check of the equipment prior to the award.
There was a pre-check period. I'll let you answer if you want, but there was a pre-check period, that folks were able, contractors were able to go and look at.
So the RFP advertised on March 4th, and that was, I believe, during like Mardi Gras break. So as soon as schools open, in the assessment period, pre-award or pre-submittal assessment period open. So anybody that was interested in visiting schools, they had the opportunity to visit schools from March 6th to May 9th. That excluded weekends and holiday closures. We did get a lot of participants visiting the site, so they used that information from their assessments at that point to basically give you a proposal. The period after contract award is basically for them to do any final assessments that they need to, maybe visit campuses that they couldn't get to during that time, or even come back to the school board and say, hey, we noticed X, Y, Z that we want to talk to y'all about before we actually sign this contract to make sure we're all on the same page. So it's not them starting from scratch from the time of the award. It's basically finalizing their report to kind of bring back to the school board for discussion.
So at that point, you've already signed a contract with them, so do you?
No contract.
Not yet.
Even after, okay, so you can award somebody, they can go out there
And
60
if it
days and come
doesn't,
back
it
and
is-
say,
it is
it's gonna be
written-
$10 million.
If it's written in the contract and we can't come to negotiations, then you don't have to award it, you don't have to sign a contract.
So I guess this is Mr. Belford, and it's not necessarily a motion at this time. Can this be tabled until further review of everything?
Yes, the only concern I have is what's the time frame of getting this done?
Yeah, so if we start to have review periods, if we start to have review periods of, 60 days, you start to get into, start of school and things like that. By the time you have contract negotiations, that would be difficult. The current JCI contract goes to the end of October.
I mean, I don't know how long it takes to look at all the ACs and then all the different schools, but basically you're saying it's about 60 days that they had to look at them, right, from March?
Just from the preliminary assessment, yes, they had about 60 days. And so we don't know how many, each bidder was able to complete. So this additional 60 days would give them opportunity to go back, finalize their assessments. And it might not take that long, but that was just enough grace period that we felt comfortable with for the contract purpose.
I mean, I guess my thought process is kind of like the pitcher that did for Dallas Baptist. He pitched at LSU, and he switched over to Dallas Baptist, and he did a pretty good job. You don't know how they're going to do until you give someone an opportunity. So I have that in the back of my mind as well. So, okay, anyway, I don't know where I am with this.
All right, Ms. Gay?
Yes, I totally agree with the split. The problem that I had was the initial motion was a little too specific as to who was going to get what side of the river. Like, I was missing some information that I needed to cast a vote on this. East side will get Barnhart, west side will get this. That was a little too specific. I think if it had been that we have decided to use two different HVAC companies, one for the east side, one for the west side, but the specificity of the motion itself, Johnson Control will have the east side and Barnhart will have the west side. It was like it was already decided on without an opportunity for us to have a discussion on it. Has it been decided on which company would get which side of the river?
The motion laid it out, but in terms of the actual RFP, we laid out what schools were on the east side, what schools were on the west side, so that when different companies bid, when those four companies bid on it, they had an opportunity to know what they were bidding.
Okay, well, can I hear the original motion that was made before this?
No, not really. We're on Mr. O'Banion's motion.
Subsequent motion?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the subsequent motion, okay. All right. You finished, Ms. Gay? Okay, all right, so we're opening up round two, for the subsequent motion, Mr. O'Banion, and then Mr. Pichon.
All right. I hate to muddy the water anymore, but if we're on my motion, but regardless of which way we go on this, I want to start the discussion, make another motion, but that we start the discussion for us to hire an air conditioning representative to handle this. I mean, especially if we split it, but to work for us, that everybody has a point of contact to go to, principals, us, everybody, and it can hold whoever gets his contract, feet to the fire, make them perform and perform. So
We can't make another motion on top of the third motion. We have to deal with that, the subsequent person. So, all right. Complete. Mr. Pichon.
I just have a quick question. I know they got 60, 90 days to come evaluate our systems, and they can come in and say, hey, you got to upgrade this, and this, and it's going to cost $5 million, let's say. hypothetically, we say, oh, we're like, oh, no, we're not paying that, then do we have to put this back out to bid again? Or do we just go with whatever the bids were remaining were?
Yep.
So it's intended to be like, hey, this piece of equipment is beyond its useful life, and if the funds aren't available to change that out, then it goes on an exempt list, where we're not gonna maintain, it's not gonna be part of the contract for now until something's done with it, or maybe it's a maintenance only, but we don't have, that particular vendor won't have the responsibility for placement. By their evaluation.
They can decide what they.
And and it's, so you have criteria in the RFP, technical criteria to a certain, within limits. And so they'll go evaluate and say, look, this is broke because of X, Y, and Z. And it should be pretty clear. And if there's anything that's muddy, then you actually have the existing contract holder come back and might have a little debate, but you get to the bottom.
Right, Mr. Bashan,
So to go back to the hypothetically, they come back and say, we don't want to do any of this stuff. Then do we have to send this back to bid if we say, no, we're not good at that?
I don't believe you do. I think it just goes on a list where, hey, this is kind of the negotiation part, this is gonna have limited maintenance on it. And that particular vendor won't be on the hook for replacement.
We could put ourselves in a really bad spot, possibly, if they come in and say, well, that's not gonna be covered by us, it's a really expensive piece of equipment.
I have a language in here that might make more sense.
Yeah, probably.
So as far as, it can't come to an agreement as far as rejecting them all or having to start over, there is a term in here, agreeable terms cannot be reached with the selected proposers. CPSB reserves the right to negotiate with other proposers or reject all proposals and restart the process in whole or part.
So we probably either go with somebody, another bid, or send it back to bid.
all right, Mr. Roberts and then Mr. Tarver. All right, Mr. Tarver and then Mr. Morrison.
I'm gonna refrain from, well, we can't talk about the go back to the other two, because we're only talking about Mr. O'Banger's motion. So I'm gonna be a good little board member and only talk about Mr. O'Banger's motion, but I'll reserve the right to go back to the other one when we go back to the other one. But on Mr. O'Banger's motion, what I would like to say as a member of this small group, first of all, let me fall on my sword on one thing a little bit and cover for Dr. Van Meter a little bit, because there was discussion about should we send out hundreds of pages of stuff to everybody. And we decided we're not going to send out hundreds of pages of stuff to everybody because, like, you're not going to read hundreds of pages of stuff. So I just want y'all to know that was not an intent. There's no intention to keep everybody like in the dark. I don't want y'all to think that was in anybody's intention, certainly not Dr. Van Meter's intention. That's why it's like, well, what happened? But just so you know a little bit about the way some of the discussion went about, you know, what happens. I'm glad you read that about the, okay, so there's further specifics that have to come into play. And if there's lack of agreement that we can't come to any resolution with one vendor, we reserve the right to, what did you say? Reserve the right to, that's right. So that has already been sort of discussed. That's what I was trying to get across when I was saying, we're only giving direction from the board here. We're awarding the bid to one of these vendors, but we don't have a 1,000-page long contract for them to go sign. So what we're trying to do right now is get the board's direction for an award to a vendor of which direction do we want them to go. Now, I personally get very irritated, and I've been getting very irritated for like many years when we get confused about who decides which direction we go. So what we're trying to do here tonight, and I don't mean that as a knock on anybody specifically, but it's our job to decide which direction to go, okay? So what I'm telling you guys is, I've decided, not Eric Tarver on the committee, Eric Tarver, a board member representing my district, that I don't want to go to only one person for the whole district. So I don't want to go to only one person, so I'm a no on the motion that he made. And that's not in the weeds enough to argue about what's in the weeds. Like, I don't want to argue about what's in the weeds. I know that I don't want to go the same direction we've always been going. So I've decided that for me, I want to change the direction. Me, Eric Tarver, my district, I want to change the direction the district goes. And so I'm a hard yes on splitting it up, which means again, no offense to Mr. Urbanian, I know you know your stuff, but I'm a hard no on keeping it all with JCI. I'm a hard no.
All right, are there any other comments? All right, so Mr. O'Banion, can you restate your motion and we will take vote?
My motion is to award the entire contract to Johnson Control for the price bid.
All right,
And a no would
moved by Mr. O'Banion, seconded by Mr. Pashon. All in favor?
Can we clarify? A no would just go back to the discussion, right? A yes,
Yes,
a yes is JCI, a no is back to the board.
Yes, thank you. All right, all in favor of the subsequent motion?
Roll call, please. Roll call, please.
Okay, roll call.
Ms. Hale, Mr. Baumgart, Mr. Rowe, Mr. Castillo.
No.
How about I turn on mic?
Yeah.
No. Did it work?
No. Ms. Fontaine?
No.
Ms. Gay?
Yeah.
Mr. Hardesty?
No.
Ms. Hardy McReynolds?
No.
Mr. Natale?
No.
Mr. Urbanian?
Yes.
Mr. Pichon?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts? No. Mr. Tarver?
No.
Reverend Wallace?
No.
And Dr. Washington?
No.
9-3.
All right, subsequent motion fails. We're back to the initial motion. All right, Mr. Hardesty.
Okay, so I would like to say that what Ms. Graham just read says that we can go back to negotiations. We are not approving the contract tonight. This is just to go back to negotiations with the ones we have to see which direction we exactly want to go. But I think we're all in agreement, well, 9 of us are in agreement that we need to go with at least 2. Okay, thank you.
All right, so the initial motion, can you restate your initial motion?
The motion is to award Johnson Control the east zone of the parish and award either Bernhard or Star Services the west zone contingent on negotiations to align with the current budget.
All right, and that motion was seconded by Mr. Tarver. All right, Mr. O'Banion?
All right. On this one, I don't, again, I mean, we have an RFP process. If we are gonna split it, I don't see that we put it to either or in the negotiation. I mean, if we're gonna go with Barnard or whoever we're gonna go with, we need to decide now who we're gonna go with, not, just open it back up. I mean, if we just open it back up and we go back to everybody, just see what happens. I mean, we need to specify, but in the scoring process and the RFP that we put out, Barnhart was second.
Barnhart was second, Star was third, and then Corporate Mechanical Contractors, out of East Louisiana.
They were the tenth, but anyway. I just, and again, I mean, I don't know the process we're gonna take, but I mean, I would, like I said before, I'm on the west side. I know Ms. Ayo's not here. I talked to her on the phone. She's in Spain, but I mean, we're happy. I went to, I've talked to 5 of my principals. They're all happy with Johnson, so I mean, I would prefer to have Johnson on the west side, so.
And one of the things that we did talk about within small group was if y'all did decide to go, let's say Johnson and Barnhart in terms of 1 and 2. We know Johnson has a bunch of folks local because they laid it out within their packet. Barnhart does some work local, but we didn't know how many folks were gonna have to be coming out of Lafayette or whatever. So one of the things we suggested was maybe looking at Johnson on the west. That way, if they had to go to Starks, for example, we wouldn't be adding 45 minutes to a trip.
Because Lafayette's closer to.
Yeah, to the east.
Bell City and.
That was one of the things that came up in small group discussion.
Yeah, so I don't know if we need to do another subsequent motion to go the other way, the Cliff, Johnson on the west side. And again, I'm saying if we're gonna follow the RFP process, and we are gonna split it, whichever way it falls out, I just think we should go with the runner-up. I mean, we can go with more money, but I mean, everybody had the same opportunity to bid. And like I said, I mean, I know y'all did too, and some of us, but we all might not have known it, but we could have come up here and read, the proposals. I know they couldn't leave here, but they didn't justify what they were gonna do to justify more money. And again, if we're gonna go this way, we'll go that way, but I just don't wanna change just to say we changed. We need to make it better, not just say we did it different. But, I guess I'm gonna make another motion to switch to Johnson on the west side. I'm gonna say Barnhart because of the RFP process on the east.
All right, so we have a subsequent motion on the table. Need a second.
Second.
All right. It was moved by Mr. O'Banion and seconded by Ms. Fontenot. All right, so discussion.
I'll go.
Mr.
Nobody's gonna go, I'll go. Go ahead, let Aaron, I'll talk enough. Go ahead, let Aaron go first.
All right.
Just a question, and it could be somebody from the small committee or the superintendent or whoever. So, with the motion, but my question would be, if it does go back, if we go into this negotiation, who's gonna be included in this? How do we know what's going on? That's kind of, I feel like we need to go.
So, I mean, what we can do is, if you'd like, what we can do is, let's say we had to have, you're talking about if we accepted this negotiation, that we would do negotiations between the second place and third place?
I guess I just said they want like.
We haven't really-
Go back and renegotiate, but I don't understand why everybody has time to look at all the equipment. I don't know why we got to renegotiate. It's different.
Like I said, we did have a view period where folks, all these companies were able to go and view the equipment. And then as part of the RFP process, they had to say what they would do the job for. And so that's what we went off of with, in terms of price and quality. So, that's why within the small group, we said, okay, well, if y'all do want to split, then probably the best option is going to be to take number one and number two. Now, in terms of what side of the river that goes on, the only reason we had said east and west within that small group, in my mind, was logistics, right? In terms
I
of,
like the idea of competition. I mean,
don't mind that.
Some people feel like JCI does a great job, some people think they do a terrible job. So we can really have some competition, somebody else provide the same type of service, we really don't have anything to measure. And so, okay, I do just more questions than anything. Thank you.
Mr. Torrance.
All right, so just to comment sort of a little bit on that. The reasoning for saying go back between these two is acknowledging we don't want one. Okay, so the first thing is in fact, maybe we should just vote on do we want one or do we want more than one and get that out of the way. I don't know. But the point of saying go back between these two is really do we want only one? Okay, and so the reason I'm supporting Mr. Hardesty's wording to say let's go back between these other two is because we don't want just one, okay? Me personally, I don't want just one. So if we award JCI in the east, the other two go back on the west and do more research, do more details, whatever you need, which is clearly laid out in the proposal. The specific I would mention about going back and what would that look like and what the hell are we even telling you guys to even go do is only Johnson Controls met the budget that was proposed for the future years, about $5.1 million. Coincidentally, that is not unlikely and it's not a secret. That's because it's based on Johnson Controls. Okay, so our budget is based on what Johnson Controls does. So if these guys go back and they say, okay, this is our budget. Can we make this? Neither one of the other guys meet the budget. Okay, Bernhardt, Starr, they're both over. All right. I have some questions about who was bidding what on that. It's way too in the weeds, I thought, way too in the weeds for discussing at a board meeting, but I have some questions about they're both over the budget. You know, are we even bidding on the same thing? Could either one of these guys meet the budget that we have? In my head, that's the kind of questions you would ask when you go back and award the RFP. And if both these guys say, no, we can't meet your budget no matter what, then they have to come back and ask us, we can't meet the budget no matter what, we want to spend more money or whatever, and then we would say yes or we would say no. But what if we say no? If we say no, then we're back to square one or whatever. So to me, that's what you're going back to figure out is we can't make this, y'all are both above the budget, you know, but if that's illegal, whatever, don't do anything illegal. I'm not saying do something illegal. The point is, I'm saying, let's give them direction on what we want them to do. For me, that is not award the entire district to one person. That's the first thing. And I'm the first person to admit that from the details that we saw, JCI made the most sense in the East. It really did. And for you guys that are saying, what's going on here? I feel like I'm in the dark. One of the reasons for that is that Bernhardt doesn't even service any, as far as I know, they don't service any major customers in Lake Charles. So they're gonna be driving in, like, they're gonna be driving in. And so they were not really, and CMC is the same way, but CMC was like 10, like, did you say they were 10? Is that what you said, Mr. Van? I think he said they were like 10. The point is they were way out of the ballpark. Not even close, right? They're not even close. But the other ones are all in the between $5 and $6 million. The other ones are all in the same ballpark. So, well, and so is Barnhart going to use JCI's controls? Because in the past, JCI has told people you can't use our controls or whatever. You have to sublet the controls to the whatever. So that's all questions that I don't know the answers to. We'll get there. We'll get there. Let me go. The point is, what I'm just continually going back to is, let's give these guys some direction. And the first direction is, do we want one or two? I want two. And so I'm going to vote no every time it only says one. And now, an unrelated no vote, I'm going to vote no to the swap because I don't want somebody from Baton Rouge that doesn't even have an office in Lake Charles covering my district. So I'm a no on this. No, I don't want Bernhardt covering your district either. I don't. I'm not saying that. I want Star covering you. To me, it makes more sense for Star to cover your district because they're in my bluff. Okay? I don't want Bernhardt covering my district, so I'm a no on the second swap. And I'm going to continue to be a no on any time it's offered to one person. And I'm a no on the swap that has Bernhardt in my district. So the point is though, if we're going to get in the weeds, one thing about getting in the weeds is if we're going to get in the weeds, we do need to award the East where there's no contention and then go get in the weeds on the West. But that better look like every one of you guys agreeing to come to about 3 meetings in the next 2 weeks to go through hundreds of pages of this stuff. Because we can't wait 3 months and then start this over. Or we're going to be in the exact same situation we've already been in thrice, where we give it to Johnson Controls for no other reason other than we waited too long. That's what we're going to do if we keep going back. We're going to give it to Johnson Controls again because we waited too long. And I don't hate Johnson Controls. Okay, this is not everything about Johnson Controls is terrible. I don't want the whole district going to one person, and I definitely don't want the whole district going to Johnson Controls just because we waited too long.
All right, Mr. Fischel.
So, my question is for Mr. Belfort. So, can we legally go back and renegotiate? And then second off, then do we have to also give Johnson Control an opportunity to renegotiate as well based off what they say?
My difficulty again is if this board were to award a contract, but then say, but you gotta take 2 bidders on one side and negotiate with them on price. I have a problem with that. I don't have as much of a problem with this board saying, hey, the staff recommended something we don't want what the staff recommended. Instead, we want JCI on one side, we'll vote on that tonight, and within X days, we'll review everything and vote on the remainder. I don't have as much of a problem with that as I do with saying you'll award the contract but negotiate prices with 2 other companies. Because there's some legitimate issues raised about not just price, about how long is it going to take for people to get from one place to another, Moss Bluff versus Lafayette. I don't know the answers to that, and that may have been covered in the specs. I don't know that.
So I'd like to file a motion to adopt something for the east and then table the west part if that's possible.
We have to vote on the subsequent motion.
You can do a substitute motion instead of.
I think my terminology would be that these are amendments, and you can have a secondary amendment, you just can't have a tertiary, meaning you can have an original amendment and an amendment to the amendment, that's it.
Yeah, and, so we have to vote on the, substitute, and then if there's another motion, then you'll have to go there, after going to the initial. All right, so Mr. Pishon, all right, Mr. O'Bank.
All right, on one issue, on the Johnson Controls question, I mean, just a clarification, the medicine system they use, as a matter of fact, all the bidders that bid to keep the current control system, they're maintaining medicine, it's not proprietary, I mean, they can, and, you know, I'm not saying this as to who should get it, who shouldn't, but they have access to the medicine system and they can work on access to software and all of that, and, but back to this again, like I said, I have a problem, you know, if we're gonna split it, we're gonna split it, but the just opening back up to everybody, I mean, let's throw CMC in there, maybe they wanna come down. I mean, if we're just gonna open it back up. But again, I say, nobody in their proposal, because 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. I read all of them cover to cover, and they do not say how many people they're gonna put. Yes, I mean, like Star has an office in Moss Bluff. They probably have 20 people there, but they didn't say we're gonna add, I mean, if they're gonna do half the parish, they didn't say we're gonna add 8 and we're gonna have 28 now. It's just the way their proposal read, it's gonna go into their rotation with all their other customers, and we're gonna be, you know, one day we may be first in line, and the next day we may be 10. So that's one of my biggest problems with that, is nobody else dedicated people to this contract. And Johnson actually met the RFP, what we asked for. They put names, resumes, qualifications, actually gave us people and numbers of people that are gonna be assigned to this contract. So, but I just have a problem with the other ones not telling us what we're gonna get and why they're more money. But if we do go to a different one, same thing, everybody got the same chance to put it in our RFP. I think if we're gonna split it, whoever the second is needs to be the second highest bidder, just to be fair.
All right. Ms. McReynolds and then Mr. Roberts.
So my question is, how long is the contract that we're, 3?
3 years and 2 1-year options.
That's all I needed to know.
Mr. Roberts. I'm just gonna concur with Mr. Tarvin, we can't go back to just one. I didn't get the pleasure of looking at their bid package because I was told the day before that it was up here. But, I don't care how many names they put on there and what their addresses are, they're still not getting the job done. That's all there is to it. They're not getting the job done. They have not. And again, I'm not gonna go back and tell all these people that have been complaining for all these years that we went back and did the same thing over and over and over again. We're gonna give them another 3 years.
All right. So, Mr. O'Banion, can you restate your motion, and we will take vote on Mr. O'Banion's subsequent motion, which was seconded by Ms. Fonda. Go ahead.
Yeah. My motion is just that, Johnson get the west side. I mean, I'm assuming Barnhart, because they were the next, you know, runner-up bidder, get the, east side.
Okay, all right. All in favor of
Roll call, please.
All right, roll call.
Ms. Sado, Mr. Baumgarten, Mr. Grove, Mr. Castillo.
No.
Ms. Fontaine,
Yes.
Ms. Gay, Mr. Hardesty,
No.
Ms. Hardy McReynolds,
No.
Mr. Natale, Mr. O'Banion,
Yes.
Mr. Pishon,
No.
Mr. Roberts,
No.
Mr. Tarver,
No.
Reverend Wallace,
No.
Dr. Washington.
No.
Mine's gonna do this.
All right, back to the initial motion. Let's be clear, Mr. Hardesty, can you state again, and we, Mr. Balfour, you had something?
You said you weren't, you said you were worried about this wording, but you were fine with a little bit different wording.
What I had difficulty with was the concept that you award a contract, Johnson Controls gets one part, but then you decide either of two companies get the other part, and you renegotiate the prices with them. Even though I don't prefer the result that we're reaching now, which is half on one side apparently, and taking what Mr. Pishon said, maybe leaving it open as to the other side. I don't prefer that. It's suggestive of litigation. But I can't say that you absolutely can't do it, okay? I can't say that. I just know in Baton Rouge, what happened is, and I think it was the school board there, or the state, and a book contract, and they awarded the contract, came back in and renegotiated prices, and the court said you can't do that. So I'm worried about the concept that you renegotiate. What are you renegotiating? I understand the issue with quality of service. Maybe they need to look at the facilities to decide what it is they can't bid on and what they want to exclude. I can understand that. Again, I don't prefer that,
Okay,
but I
so
understand
can
that.
I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, so we don't award it tonight. Okay, we don't award the east side tonight, and we want to go back to negotiations. It very clearly states in what we did, she had read it over and over, that we can negotiate whether it's the services or the controls or the equipment or whatever it is, we can negotiate. Can you read that again, please?
I didn't understand that she meant you could renegotiate anything in the contract.
It doesn't have to be the prices. But I think we can choose any two of these if we want. If we decide as a board, we can choose either two of these if we want. It doesn't have to be Barnhart. It could be CMC and Johnson Control if we want to do it. If we voted that way, that's where we go. Go ahead, ask.
What it is that you said that made Mr. Hardesty think you could renegotiate?
So this is an evaluation process, information where it has multiple different things, but in this clause, it says that agreeable terms cannot be reached with the selected proposer or proposers. CPSB reserves the right to negotiate with other proposers or reject all proposals and restart the process in whole or part.
One of the difficulties the court in Baton Rouge had, and I have the same thing, why do you do an RFP if you're gonna go back and negotiate with who you want, when you want, and what terms you want? So you're limited by your RFP about what you can do. I can understand saying to a couple of companies, hey, tell me what it is you object to, what do you want to exclude? I can understand that. But I don't agree that you can start all over with two companies and say you're following an RFP. What you're essentially doing is saying, hey, the RFP doesn't mean anything. And I don't believe the court would agree with you if you said that. So again, it depends on what you're talking about negotiating. I agree you can negotiate some things, like what do you want to exclude from the maintenance? I don't agree you can simply renegotiate everything.
Okay. Read my motion, yeah, your motion, go ahead, and then Mr.
The
O'Banky.
motion is to award Johnson Controls the east zone of the parish and award either Barnhart or Star Services the west zone contingent on negotiations to align with the current budget. If we want to do it with all three of them, I'm fine with that. So we can put CMC in there too, and we're negotiating, but if we split it into, needs to be split into. So if y'all want me to say CMC, I'll say that one in there too, and we'll negotiate it with all three of them. Okay, so the motion is to award Johnson Controls the east zone.
Let's just do these.
Well, but we have that initial motion we have to deal with, and so there's a subsequent, so let's wait, hold on. Let's let Mr. O'Banky, go ahead.
Again, I mean, we're gonna split it, that's okay. I just like Mr. Belfour said, though, why did we do this? I mean, why did we, let's just say, go out and find somebody. I mean, that's basically what we're saying now, because the RFP means nothing. My point is, we need to, whoever it is, we need to decide tonight who it's gonna be.
Let me comment on, I would like to make,
All right, go ahead, Mr. Tallman.
I would like to make a substitute motion. I would like to make a motion that we award the east side to the non-contentious Johnson Controls. And then I would like to, in that motion, say that the west side, we're gonna go back to staff for a recommendation within 30 days to award the west side, 30 days from now, to someone that did not get the east side. So let's award the east side and then send it back to staff and come back in 30 days with a recommendation to award the west side. That's a substitute motion. And if I want a second, that's cool. Okay.
Second. All right, it was moved by Mr. Tarver and seconded by Mr. Roberts. All right, discussion. All right, Dr. Washington and Mr. Fishon.
I appreciate the discussion, but I have more questions than answers. I don't know these contractors that bid. I don't have enough information about them. I heard things about them, but I don't know enough to say, I want this group or this person or that person. I think it's unfair that we are put in this position to have to decide. And my second thing is, do we really want to divide our district east and west? What if our east is good and the west not so good? Do you know the types of conflict that will cause among friends? I just don't think it's a great idea. There's another way we can divide it, possibly. I don't know that other way, but maybe there's another way we can look at it rather than saying, you're gonna have our east, you're gonna have our west. I just think we need to really think about this because this is important. I heard the complaints years ago, not last year, and I know we have to do something, but do we really want to divide our district?
I'm really gonna echo what Ms. Washington said is, you talk about there being divide between east and west. What if the west comes in and it's just terrible? Imagine the divide we have then. We're stuck with that for 3 years. Most of y'all won't even be on the board then. So what do we do then? I'll admit, I got a lot of phone calls. I did too, just like all y'all did. But like I said, we put them in that spot. We didn't want to pay the money to replace a lot of the equipment that needed to be replaced. Guess what happened? We replaced the equipment. Guess what happened after that? Got better. I just feel like dividing it up is going to create some.
I'll withdraw my motion if they want to make a motion to divide or not divide. If we can make some progress of some kind, I'll withdraw my motion. If y'all want to make a motion to divide or not divide, I'll withdraw mine. Well.
All right. Ms. McReynolds.
So my next question is, I know we don't have that much time, but it's too much tonight going back and forth, east, west, this, that, this company, don't know they have enough employees, et cetera. What is the least amount of time we can take for this?
Oh, well, I mean,
Just too much.
we've got to start school, in a couple months. These folks do have, regardless, even if you award tonight, right? They've got a 60-day period where they can go and evaluate equipment. That brings us pretty much to the summer, right? To be honest, you don't have a whole lot of time.
2 weeks.
We're stuck here now.
We're
It's a lot.
understood. And you know what? And like I said, I do understand that, hey, we want to split. Got it. That's what came up in the small group meeting, right? We talked through it, and that was one of the options that we had talked about, right? And one of the things that we had talked about is splitting with basically the top two that came out on the RFP. We're giving Johnson one side, giving Barnhart was the other one, giving Barnhart the other side. So that did come out in our discussion. So, and I mean, if we split, we split.
3 years is a long time.
Yes, ma'am. So, but like, at the same time, we don't want to go with a contract that's 1 year because, if these folks go and they sink a whole lot of money into, say, changing controls and things like that, like, they need to know, especially if it's a new company, that they've got several years on contract in order to do that. I understand that too. And not only that, we don't want to be having this discussion every year.
I'm so tired of it. I just want
So-
to be cool.
All right, Mr. Roberts?
Okay, so the vote, if you vote on this current motion, we split it. That's
right.
We're gonna split it.
Yes.
And so I encourage the board to vote for this, so we can split and at least get that out of the way, and we're only dealing on one half of the parish. I'm not worried about East versus, this isn't East versus West, this isn't Sulphur versus Bar. This is about getting better services, which a lot of us agree Johnson Control could not get it done. They said, oh, we had bad equipment, this, that, and the other. No, we did not. We spent a ton of money on a $50 million allocation, buying new chillers, buying all kinds of new equipment with our money, not their money. And it's still, in 2023, we had the failure. So we had a lot of new equipment in place. And we invested a lot of money ourselves, and still, at the beginning of that school year, there were work orders that weren't taken care of and weren't addressed, that were put in at the end of the previous school year. So a vote for this splits it, and we'll get the west side figured out shortly. But we need to do something. But I support splitting it, and that's what this does.
All right. All right, so motion on the table, restate real quick and we'll take vote on it.
So the motion is to split the district, the east side, which is not contentious. It's worth echoing that. The east side was not contentious in the committee, and it's not been contentious up here. So the motion is split the district. The east side, which is not contentious, goes to JCI. The west side goes to someone other than JCI, back to staff, answer in 30 days.
And it was seconded by Mr. Roberts. All right, all in favor?
Roll call, please.
All right, roll call vote.
Hey, can we say, instead of 30 days, can we say next board meeting?
When is that? Is it less than 30 days?
It's a little bit more than 30 days,
Well-
because we're early, right?
Well, okay, so then what I'd like to say is leave it 30 days. Get us the recommendation within 30 days. That way we can vote on it in the next board meeting. So yes, we'll vote on it in the next board meeting, but get us the recommendation within 30 days. If that works.
And roll call vote.
One question on the motion. So if we're gonna come back to it in 30 days, then, I mean, we're gonna split, but let's come back to the whole thing, who gets what.
Right, the only reason I said the motion the way I did is because I don't want to go back to only one provider.
No,
So,
and that's what
so that's why the motion would say JCI gets the east, JCI's not getting the west. And I'm sorry I'm walking all over you in your district, but I got other west people that are arguing, I'm not trying to.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if we're not gonna decide the contract tonight, then why don't we decide how the split is? I'm not arguing whether or not we're gonna split.
Because that's my motion, and I don't have a good necessarily answer of why not to do that, but my motion is the motion. So we gotta do some votes. We gotta make some progress.
All right, roll call vote.
Okay, let's say repeat it again. So the motion is split the district. The east side, which is not contentious, goes to JCI. West side goes back to staff to not JCI, answer back to us in 30 days.
I mean, just a clarification on the motion. What do you mean by not contentious? What is that?
Well, there was no argument on the committee, on the small group. There was really no contention about JCI on the east side and among the board. There's been really no contention among, and I'm on the east side. And
Right, but I thought Dr. Van Meter had said one of the issues was because of location.
Let's do this.
Okay.
Let's take vote.
Okay.
Let's take vote, and we'll move forward and we'll go back to the initial if it fails. All right? All right, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Ayo, Mr. Baumgarten, Mr. Grove, Mr. Castillo,
No.
Ms. Fontenot,
No.
Ms. Gay, Mr. Hardesty,
Yes.
Ms. Hardy McReynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Natale,
Yes.
Mr. O'Banion,
No.
Mr. Pishon,
No.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Tarver,
yes.
Reverend Wallace,
Yes.
and Dr. Washington.
No.
I got 65 yes.
So can you say it loud, please?
I got 65 yes.
All right, so, motion carries, ayes have it. All right. Let's see, we are on D, 9D. All right, approval of resolution to hire outside counsel Stutes and Laverne for tax dispute with P&K LLC, DBA LaBerge, Casino Resort, Lake Charles.
Yeah, this is for sales tax and to have Steve Laverne as counsel for that sales tax.
Okay, any questions? All right, can I have a motion? It was moved by Mr. Natale, seconded by Ms. McReynolds. All in favor? Any nays? All right, 9E, can I have a motion? Anything? All right, motion moved by Mr. Natale, seconded by? All right, Dr. Washington. All right, approval. E, approval of budget revision for Head Start. Any questions?
This is just a budget revision for Head Start. She's got to have a budget revision when she makes a major change. I think she's moving some money aside.
Yes, sir. All in favor, say aye. Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. All right, number 10, permission to advertise, there's none. 11, bid reports, none. And about for ratification, that is, none. And number 12, bid reports. All right. All right, A, small kitchen equipment, SKE bid. All right, 4 bids received. The staff recommends awarding the bid to multiple vendors with the lowest responsible bid, line by line. Southwest Bar Needs, Lafayette Restaurant Supply, Economical, and Singer Equipment Company. Any, all right, all in, you gotta have a motion? All right, moved by Ms. McReynolds, second. All right, by Mr. Castillo. All in favor of 12A. Say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. 12B, food snacks produce, bread and milk recommended, awarding to all the following bidders: Flower Foods, Capital City, and Bimbo Bakeries. Milk, Oak Farms, and agreed to honor last year's spring pricing rather for 2025. All right. Yeah. All right. Can I get a motion to accept 12B?
So moved.
All right, it was moved by, all right, moved by Mr. Tarver. It's seconded by, all right, seconded by Ms. McReynolds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. All right, 13A. All right, change order, correspondence rather, change order number 3 for projects Maplewood Middle and Elementary Schools, 2-story classroom buildings. All right, District 23 Bond Funds, Ellender Architects and Associates LLC Designer, Pat Williams Construction LLC Contractors, increased to 45 days, increased by $29,914.61. It was moved by Mr. Castillo, seconded by Mr. Hardesty. Any questions? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, any nays? Motion carries, ayes have it. Number 14, condolences and recognitions. We will start to my left, Mr. O'Bain. Right? Right, I know Ms. Castillo, right?
Michael Ford, he was a STED teacher at Sulphur High School, he passed away.
All right, Mr. Hardesty? No. All right, Mr. Tarver? All right. Mr. Talley? All right. Ms. McReynolds?
None.
All right, Dr. Washington?
Please include me on the one for Mike Ford. Also, I'd like to ask for a letter of condolence to Mr. Gregory Taylor Sr. on the death of his granddaughter, Mackenzie Rito. He was a janitor at the assessment building.
All right, Mr. Pishon?
No.
All right, I do have two, one for Miss Janet Hummel for the passing of her son, Janelle, thank you. All right, and the other one for going to Mr. and Mrs. Alfred Rose Young for the passing of Miss Deidre Young, who was a former educator and assistant. All right?
I'd like to be added to Mr. Young.
All right. All right, scheduled committees, number 15, CNI Committee Tuesday, August 26, 2025, and Budget Committee Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. Number 16, so moved. Adjournment. All right, it was moved by Mr. Hardesty, seconded by Mr. Tarver. Any questions on that? All in favor? Any nays? Motion carries. Ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.